Okay, gang, I got the latest word here on Evergrande. Here's that the collapse is happening. Evergrande, they're going to avoid default. The China government is going to pay the retail investors. It says the regulators in Beijing issued a broad set of instructions to China Evergrande Group, encouraging embattled developer to take all measures possible to avoid a near-term default on dollar bonds while focusing on completing unfinished properties and repaying individual investors. There's no indication that regulators offered financial support to Evergrande for the bond payment, and it's unclear whether officials believe the company should eventually impose losses on offshore creditors. Policymakers are trying to learn who holds Evergrande's bonds. The person said, but they asked not to be identified, so it must be some interior Chinese Communist Party official. Let's see what else they say here going on. Let's see. Well, a lack of clear public communication from senior Chinese leaders on Evergrande has left the company shrouded in uncertainty. The Dow Jones reported on Thursday that authorities instructed local government agencies and state-owned enterprises to step in at the last minute should Evergrande fail to maintain its affairs in an orderly fashion. Authorities have signaled their reluctance to bail out the developer, according to Dow Jones. At least we have a reputed source here, which cited officials familiar with the discussion's fear of an Evergrande failure caused by a sharp rise in borrowing costs for other junk-rated Chinese developers, and cast doubt on the health of some smaller Chinese banks. Individual investors, homebuyers, and suppliers have staged protests at Evergrande's office across the country, while markets from Hong Kong to New York have convulsed this week as traders weigh the prospect of financial contagion from the world's most indebted developer. There's a video here on YouTube about a woman sitting in front of the Evergrande offices, I believe, in Shanghai, and she said if she can't get her money back for her development that she put a deposit on, she was going to kill herself. She was going to go to the top of that building and jump off that building. So I think things are getting crucial. It's a crisis. I tell you, not my money, so I don't really care. But then again, you had to see it coming. You had to see it coming. Evergrande, the PBOC, which is the People's Bank of China, and the nation's financial and housing regulators didn't immediately respond to requests for comment. Speculation that Evergrande may avoid a worst-case scenario helped lift bonds and stocks on Thursday. The company's 8.25% dollar note due 2022 climbed 67 cents to $1.31.9 as of 7:09 p.m. yesterday, hitting sessions after Bloomberg reported regulators' instructions to Evergrande. This is peculiar. The rally was fueled in part by a vaguely worded statement from Evergrande on Wednesday, in which the company said an interest payment on one of its yuan-denominated bonds has been resolved via negotiations of the clearinghouse. The developer likely struck a deal with the local bondholders to postpone the payment without having to label a move a default. In meeting with Evergrande employees on Wednesdays, Hui, which appears to be a regulator for the People's Bank of China, emphasized the importance of resuming construction on unfinished properties. According to Jimin, a Chinese media outlet, he also said Evergrande will ensure repayment of investment products. Now, it's a real saucy story. The fact of the matter is, I don't think that's going to happen. I think the company is going to default. It's going to take about 10 banks down with it. The government's going to have to come in, the Chinese government is going to have to come in and guarantee the solidity and validity of those banks. And when that happens, I just think the dirt's going to travel westward to London and the New York markets. From there, I think by that time we'll be in the end of the year, though. So I think by the time January 2022 comes around, it might be dog doo out here in these streets. Like Kevin Samuel said, winter is coming. Let's see. Better get your coat, get some snacks, because this is going down to Funky Town.